Some of the most emotionally exhausting people in life are not always the loudest. Sometimes they are the people who slowly drain your peace, your confidence, your energy, and your mental health while making you question yourself the entire time. And one of the hardest things for many people to understand about narcissistic behavior is this: they feed from emotional connection. Not healthy connection, emotional reaction, your attention, your pain, your response, your confusion, your emotional energy. That's why arguing with them rarely brings peace. Explaining yourself over and over rarely changes anything. And trying to prove your worth to someone who lacks empathy usually only destroys your own peace. Because many narcissistic people are deeply disconnected from themselves internally. And when someone is deeply unhappy within, they often try to control, manipulate, or emotionally drain others around them. Not because you deserved it, but because hurting people often hurt people. And one of the most powerful things you can understand is this: a narcissist wants reaction. They want emotional engagement. Even negative attention still feeds the connection. That's why one of the healthiest things you can sometimes do is completely disconnect emotionally. Not from hate, not from revenge, but from self-respect. Sometimes the strongest response is no response. Sometimes peace begins when you stop explaining yourself, stop defending yourself, stop trying to make someone understand who never truly wanted understanding in the first place. And this becomes especially important after breakups, toxic family dynamics, or emotionally manipulative relationships. Because many people stay emotionally trapped long after the relationship ends, checking their social media, reading old messages, replying to fake apologies, getting pulled back into the same cycle again and again. And every time you reconnect emotionally, the wound opens again. So sometimes healing means complete distance, blocking numbers, blocking fake accounts, ignoring attempts to provoke you. Not because you're weak, because you finally value your peace. And this is where many people struggle. Because part of them still wants closure, still wants justice, still wants the narcissist to suddenly understand the pain they caused. But deep healing begins when you stop needing that. Because closure doesn't always come from another person. Sometimes closure comes from awareness, from finally seeing reality clearly, from accepting this person is unhealthy for my nervous system, my mental health, and my peace. And once you fully see that, you stop romanticizing the connection. You stop confusing attachment with love. You stop trying to save people who refuse to save themselves. And one of the biggest mistakes people make with narcissistic individuals is taking their behavior personally. But often, their manipulation existed long before you entered their life. Their patterns existed long before you. The lying, the blame shifting, the gaslighting, the need for control, the emotional games. And if you're not conscious, you slowly begin losing yourself trying to survive inside their chaos. You begin over-explaining, overthinking, walking on eggshells, questioning your own reality. And this is why self-awareness becomes so important, because awareness allows you to step back and ask, why am I tolerating behavior that destroys my peace? Why am I chasing validation from someone incapable of giving healthy love? Why am I abandoning myself trying to hold on to this person? Those questions change lives. And one of the healthiest things you can begin doing is reconnecting with yourself again, your body, your intuition, your boundaries, your self-respect. Because many people coming out of narcissistic relationships are deeply emotionally exhausted. Their nervous system has been living in survival mode, constant stress, constant emotional confusion, constant unpredictability. And healing means calming the body again, sleeping properly, exercising, spending time with emotionally safe people, getting away from constant drama, learning to enjoy silence again, learning to trust yourself again. And one of the hardest truths to accept is this: you cannot heal by staying emotionally attached to what keeps hurting you. At some point, you must choose peace over attachment. And many people fear letting go because they think, what if they change? But ask yourself honestly, how many times have you already hoped for change? How many chances have already been given? How many times did the cycle repeat? Awareness means seeing patterns honestly, not emotionally, honestly. And something else important to understand. Narcissistic people often struggle deeply inside themselves. Many are carrying unresolved trauma, insecurities, emptiness, or emotional wounds they never healed. But understanding someone's pain does not mean sacrificing yourself to it. Compassion does not mean tolerating abuse. Empathy does not mean abandoning your own well-being. You can understand someone and still walk away. You can forgive someone and still never allow them back into your life. And sometimes the greatest revenge is no longer caring, no longer reacting, no longer giving your emotional energy away, no longer allowing someone access to your peace. Because when you fully heal, you stop needing to win. You stop needing them to fail. You stop needing revenge. You simply outgrow the chaos, and life becomes quieter, softer, more peaceful. And maybe for the first time in a very long time, you begin reconnecting with yourself again, your real self. The version of you that existed before all the stress, confusion, and emotional exhaustion. And one day, you'll look back and realize the moment you stopped chasing toxic people was the moment your healing truly began. If this message found you at the right time, there are many more self-awareness journeys waiting for you on this channel.